I've had this car for just over a year now, and I just thought I'd do not necessarily like a review of the car a year later, but more about just sort of my experience with it. If you're looking at GR Yaris reviews, you've probably seen heaps of videos and they sort of all cover the exact same thing. The main cons usually being to do with the seating position, the fake noise that goes through the cabin, the suspension setup sometimes, that kind of stuff, and the fact that it's a loud, clunky gearbox. And those things are all true, but that's why I've modified mine pretty heavily. So there's been a lot that's been done to it this year, and there'll be more, I'm sure, going into this year as well. Yeah, I just sort of talk about a few things that have happened with my car. Mechanically, it's been fine. I've never had an issue with it. I bought this car at 8,000 kilometers. I've now just done 31,000, so I've done about 22,000 this year, and I am yet to have any Yaris issues at all. A few things that in my experience with the car, when I bought it, I don't think I was ever really in love with the way that the car looked. It was more about just the engine and how the car had come about that I really liked, and I always had a vision that I was going to modify it in some way, and that's exactly what I've done. I couldn't live with the car stock. I just didn't love the way that it sat when I was walking towards the car, let's say out of the shops or something. It just wasn't screaming like, this is cool, and that's sort of what I want in a car. So that is, I think, the first thing to think about. If you don't, at least from my perspective, I always was going to modify the car. It was never going to be a car that I could keep stock. So it's not a particularly cheap car. So to be like it was something that I was always going to put extra money into, it wasn't going to be something where I felt I could just leave it as it is. So just know that if you're a bit like me and you like modifying cars, don't think that the money you're going to spend to buy the car is going to be the only money you're going to spend on the car, because it's not. Because you're going to want to do things to it just like me. You're going to want to put it on new suspension or change the wheels. So that's something just to be wary of. When the car was factory and completely stock, I think there was a lot of things the car needed improvement on. That being the way that it rally car, but for me it just didn't look right. The wheels were so far inside the fender, it just looked really bad in my opinion. The noise that gets played through the speakers, that was the first thing I wanted to get rid of. I hated it. It's fake noise, it gets pumped through the thing, through the interior. The car sounds like a vacuum cleaner stock without an exhaust. So that was another thing that I changed. It finally now sounds nice. I can give you a little bit of a... I have a stainless steel exhaust on it from Lamb Speed. So again, it's pretty affordable, not titanium obviously, but again, that sort of helps with getting rid of the tinniness. It sounds a lot better and it sounds like a little bit deeper, which is nice. Space-wise, there's not a lot, but if you put the rear seats down and you really take on the car as being a two-seater car, it's almost like a small little van, because you can fit a decent amount of stuff in the back. You can fit 4 wheels and tyres, but from a family perspective, no, it's not like a normal Yaris where you could sit 5 people in the car. You're probably looking at about 3.5, I would say, if you're being completely honest. There's buttons on the steering wheel, you've got dual climate control, heated seats, I've got wireless CarPlay, you've got your different drive modes, you've got your auto rev matching, traction control buttons. It's even got auto start, which is fucking stupid. That is probably the least liked thing on this whole car, is the fact that it has auto stop start, which obviously you can turn off with just a button. But a lot of the times you get in your car and you sort of forget about it, and then you're sitting at, you know, you're coming into a set of lights, you stop, especially with the car with an exhaust which is quite loud, everyone just thinks you've stalled it, because it just shuts off as soon as you stop. But no, it's auto start. But again, you can't explain that to people, because people just think you're lying. It's a never-ending cycle, really. From what I've driven at work, which is almost absolutely everything, this for me still feels like the most fun car I've had. And obviously that's a bit biased because it's my car and I'm paying for it, but it just makes you smile, it just makes you want to have fun, and it's kind of stupid, but that's why it's cool being big. Oh shit, oh my god, I nearly just took out a fucking kangaroo, but I didn't. That was lucky. That was fucking close. Yeah, the handling's really good. It's been massively improved by the coilovers. Gotta say, when it was on stock suspension sitting a lot higher, obviously the center of gravity was a lot higher, so you did feel like it was almost a bit not as confidence inspiring as it is now. It really feels like it's planted to the floor. Obviously because the actual car it sits quite low now to the actual tyres, but I think it'd be hard to keep this car stock for me. I don't think I could do it. But again, it does depend on the audience for the car, because it's not something you see 20-year-olds really driving around in. They're usually middle-aged men, and like it's a weird sort of protected species, this car, in that like I'm a part of a lot of those GR Yaris groups, and a lot of people are like, leave it as it is, it's perfect the way it is, don't touch it. And it's sort of strange. I feel like it's depending on the niche of the car, means that the people who are part of the community sometimes are way more protective of it, and they don't look at the flaws of the car, or you can't say anything negative about it, you're ruining it, and all this kind of stuff. At the end of the day, if you buy one and you want to do something to it, or you have like a vision for the car, go do it. It's a weird sort of, yeah, niche sort of market, going from the 86 community, which is very much like modify it, do what you want to it, more sort of accepting in a way, where, yeah, the GR Yaris community, I've found in my experience, is a lot more, no, why'd you do that? It needs to look like this. This is a rally car, it has to look like this. It's like, nah, do whatever you like with it, you know what I mean? I don't know, that's just my opinion on it, but yeah, so that's sort of been my experience with the car. Is it fun to drive? Yes. Is it the most practical car in the world? No. Does it look cool? I think with work, yep. So yeah, if you were to ask me, would I buy this car again? The simple answer would be, if it was a daily, no. If I had the extra money to buy on a silly fun car, yes, I would buy it. Because it's heaps of fun. It's not very practical, but it's just really an awesome car. It doesn't really make sense as to why it exists. It just sort of had to for Toyota to compete in World Rally. So they were never going to make a car like this, which is I think the coolest thing about the whole thing. Yeah, that's about it really. If you're looking at buying one of these, you're looking, at least in Australia, minimum for a GR Yaris around 43 with maybe 30,000 Ks in it, something like that. If you're looking for a rally spec, then you're looking at minimum 55, 56. So they're not cheap cars. I think for what you pay for, there's a lot of other options out there that are maybe more practical, but not as fun. So you have to sort of weigh it up yourself of what's more important to you. Is it the practicality and the longevity maybe of having the car, or is it just the stupidity and fun you want to have? And actually thinking about that now, I probably lean towards the stupidity part. So yes, I would buy this car again. But luckily I already have one, so I don't need to buy another one. If you haven't seen the car yet, yeah, this is how it currently sits. So what we've done to it is we've done a set of 57 DR Ray Graham lights. They're 9.5. They're staggered offsets, so 22 on the rear, 38 on the front. Obviously they're a lot wider, so they're 9.5 width compared to the 8 on the stock wheels. And so yeah, you can just see like it fills out the guards of the wheels so much better. And then obviously we're also on coilovers. You can see it's pretty low. There's not really much gap between there. Again, yeah, I think it looks way better. You can see the exhaust on the back also. That's just a cat back from lamb speed at the moment, makes it sound a lot nicer. And yeah, you can just, at least for me, I think it just sits so much nicer. It's a way beefier setup. It looks way more aggressive in my opinion. My favorite part about the car though is the back of it. It looks pretty thick from the back as you can see. It's yeah, so yeah, we're getting there. As I said, there's other bits coming, maybe a wing or something huge sitting there will look really cool, and then the front lip will obviously be coming very, very shortly. So yeah, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. There will be more GR Yaris content coming this year. As I said, hopefully we'll get it to near enough perfect. I think we're almost there. It just needs a few little more bits and pieces. For me, it needs work, but we're almost there. And yeah, I'm just gonna probably leave it there, to be honest.